Hi, folks. Today we're going to read about Sylvia Mendez. And she was a kid, an 8-year old, back in 1944. And she helped to make change happen. So we're going to read her story. And when we're reading this, I want you to think about the other article that we read about the kids that participated in the sit ins that were change makers. And think about how Sylvia Mendez is also a kid who helped to make change happen. And how might you make some change happen in your world, in your community, maybe in your family to improve life around you? I also want you to get this paper out of your blue folder. It says all about Sylvia Mendez. After you finish this article, you're going to sit down and complete this. And think about as you're completing it, you want to do this at a third grade level. So you want to have this be nice writing. You want to use complete sentences wherever it's necessary for a complete sentence. And think about that quality of work that you should be having as a third grader. Okay, here we go. We're going to read Sylvia Mendez. Also, I'll pause just a second before we get started. If you would rather just read this on your own, you can grab the paper, the news out of your folder and just turn to the article and read it on your own. Here. I want to mention too that there's another article right here about a kid that fought for change in their own community just recently. And that's a pretty cool article about how a kid today was fighting for change and made things happen in her community. So check that out as well. Okay, here we go.
History makers. Sylvia Mendez. Her family helped in the battle for equal education. Every day, 8-year-old Sylvia Mendez got off the bus in front of 17th Street Elementary School. It was 1944 in Westminster, California. The school was big and clean with a fun playground. It had swings, monkey bars, a teeter-totter. Sylvia, who is now 84, remembers. But only white kids were allowed to go there. Because she was Mexican American, Sylvia had to walk down the street to Hoover Elementary. It was small and run down. It had no playground. Sylvia's family knew this practice of segregating or separating students was unfair. They fought to stop it. Separate schools. In the early 1900s, many Mexican people moved to California to get jobs, but many white people didn't want them there. Restaurant owners even put up signs that said, "No dogs or Mexicans allowed." Sylvia's father was born in Mexico, but Sylvia and her siblings were born in the U.S. In 1944, the family tried to enroll Sylvia in 17th Street Elementary. They were told, "No Mexicans allowed." A legal battle. Sylvia's family and other Mexican American parents wanted their kids to have the same opportunities as white kids. The whites-only school offered a better education. In 1945, the Mendez family and 4 other Mexican American families took the school district to court. The families won their case. The court said that 4 California school districts had segregation. Over time, court decisions would force school districts in the rest of the country to do the same. We're all equal. In 1947, Sylvia and other Mexican American kids were allowed to attend 17th Street Elementary. But one boy made Sylvia feel unwelcome. "Mexicans don't belong here," he told her. Sylvia didn't want to return to school, but her mother reminded her of something important. She said, "We all deserve equality," Sylvia recalls. Sylvia went back to school the next day. She eventually made many new friends. Sylvia paved the way for other kids to end segregation in their schools. But years later, she realized that not many people knew her story. She has spent the past 20 years speaking out about it so others can see how harmful prejudice can be. Fighting for equality. Here are some big moments in the fight for equal education in the U.S. 1954. The U.S. Supreme Court rules that segregation in public schools is illegal. 1957. In Arkansas, U.S. troops protect 9 black students as they begin attending an all-white high school. 1960. Ruby Bridges is the first black student at a Louisiana whites-only school. Many white parents keep their kids home.
I think I'm going to turn the page so we can see this other article. But wow, what a story Sylvia Mendez has to tell, and a story that I had never heard, and is a very important story to know about. So your job is to complete all about Sylvia Mendez and turn that in. So put it in your blue folder when you're finished. And if you'd like, let's take a listen to this story about change that's happening today.
My story. I fought for change. Kirsten Wright and her classmates live in Columbia, South Carolina. They convinced leaders to honor an amazing woman. Last year, my friends and I saw an article that surprised us. We learned that while many streets in our city were named for men, only 1 or 2 were named for women. We thought that needed to change. Raleigh, Maya, Tiffany, and I showed the article to our 3rd grade class. We all researched women in our state's history. We listed women we might want to name streets after. At the top of our list was Matilda Arabella Evans. She was the first licensed black female doctor in our state. She gave free care to patients who were poor. Our teacher, Mr. Haas, suggested that we talk to City Council about our idea. So we went to a council meeting and gave speeches. Weeks later, we found out that our work had paid off. The city was naming a street Matilda Evans Street. We feel very accomplished, and we hope that the city keeps remembering women in this way. How Kirsten helped change her town. 1. Kirsten and her class were inspired by Matilda Evans. She became a doctor in 1897. 2. Kirsten's friends went to their city council. They asked to have a street named after Evans. 3. The council agreed. Later, Kirsten met Evans's great-granddaughter, Nadia Muhammad.
Pretty cool story. I wonder if there's something we could do like that in our community. All right. That is your assignment for today, and I can't wait to see what you write about Sylvia Mendez. I'll see you soon.